Hi, welcome everybody to joining us today. I'm here with Chris Cillizza, my really good friend and amazing journalist. He's worked at the Washington Post, CNN. He has his own very popular Substack, So What? And he's also just like a really wonderful guy. And he's one of my husband's very best friends in the entire universe. So you were on the top of my list to talk to
Oh,
you.
thank you.
Um, and you're also just like somebody who's very honest and open about your life. And I think people really connect with
I
that.
try to be. I try to be. It's I think one thing that's hard is like uh if you are open about your life, like my wife is like, did we really need to talk about that? Like it is a challenge, I think, because like my kids, they don't, I try not to write too much about them because they have their own lives and they're 17 and 14 now. So like they're not super interested in me airing any of their laundry, much less their dirty laundry. So it's like it's a fine line to walk. But I try to be a relatively open book because I think one of the issues we have in journalism is that we've hidden kind of like how we do things. And I'm always like, not that much of a secret. Like I'm happy to talk about why we do what we do, and there's nothing nefarious or malicious there.
Yeah, I think it's important that people know that they don't have like
Yeah.
their own conspiracy
Right.
theories
There's
about.
no secret meetings or secret plans, man. Like there really aren't. You can think that you can draw your own conclusions, but that's one I'm always like, man, trust me, there aren't.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyway.
totally. Um, it's so you're very and you're also really open about your own issue with what happened at CNN and like
Yes.
and the same thing happened to my husband, which also I thought was really great that you
Same
were
day, right?
day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, look, breaking news. The media business is a bad business. Like it's just, you know, uh, I tell people all the time now, I'm like, look, have a plan B. Like I know you might think you're in. I think this is probably true across every industry, but like certainly in journalism, like have a plan B. Everyone thinks they're indispensable. People may well tell you you're indispensable. People at CNN told me like, oh, they'll never get rid of you. You're doing great. You're not indispensable, no matter what you think. So just always have a plan B because look, legacy journalism is not. It's only going to continue to get smaller and shrink, right? It's not suddenly going to turn around and be this amazing thing. So Uh, yeah. I was talking to somebody about this a couple days ago, and I said, what's weird to me about getting laid off is, and I didn't know this before it happened to me, but like it's pretty common. Like
Yeah.
40, almost half of the workforce gets laid off at some point in their lives across all industries. And it's weirdly kind of, I feel like the thing that I related it to is like women having miscarriages. Like unfortunately, it's not that uncommon, but like not that many people talk about it. And I found like getting laid off, people like there was shame attached to it. And I was like, what? As far
Yeah.
as I could tell, I didn't do anything wrong. I mean, maybe they
Right.
didn't tell me, like, but I couldn't figure out anything I had done like expressly wrong. And
Yeah.
yet, like there was, and I felt it too, but there's a lot of shame around it. I would meet with people and they're like, oh, I got laid off 5 years ago. And I'm like, well, I didn't know
Totally.
that.
If one of your kids asked you or came to you and said they want to become a journalist and work at, in traditional media, would you kind of try to steer them away from that?
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay.
Because I just don't, while I think it is an incredibly worthy career in that, like, it's super interesting and you meet really cool people and stuff, it's just not, I mean, if they really wanted to do it, sure. But like, it's just not, the business, I think, is really bad. And I don't, somebody asked me recently, like, what do you think legacy media should do? And I think I said, like, look, it's easy to shoot from outside the tent and be like, oh, I can't believe Will Lewis, or I can't believe that, this person did this or that person did that. But like, if they made me the publisher of the Washington Post tomorrow, like, I'd have a few ideas, but I'm under no illusion that those ideas would uh, transform the Post business and make it profitable. Like, I just, a lot of smart people have spent a lot of time trying to think this through, and it's not for lack of effort that we haven't figured this out. And I also, by the way, don't think kind of independent journalism is a full replacement. Like what we do now is not a full replacement for legacy media, because like I'm not going to build my own news gathering operation. That doesn't make any financial sense for me. Neither are you, right? I mean, you're in a little bit different space, but point is like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that, but I need someone to be like, oh, this happened in San Diego, or this happened, like, but I'm not going to be that person.
Right.
And so if
Yeah.
that goes away, I guess you're just relying on like people on the ground to like go to an event and see Zoran Mamdani speak and like put it on Twitter. But like, then you have no sense of, okay, is this definitely what he said? Is this, I mean, so it's
Right.
like, I don't want legacy media to disappear. Like I'm not like against it. We need it. I can't do, that's the spine of everything that I do. And unfortunately, I don't see them figuring it out. I mean,
Yeah.
the place that people always cite is the New York Times, and it's
I
like,
was
yeah,
gonna
but
say,
no,
yes,
no one, yeah, but
amazing.
no one really. Look, I think the New York Times has amazing journalists, amazing. I've actually become even more impressed with the New York Times over the last few years. But
Yeah.
the reason that they're profitable is because they made a smart decision to diversify away from journalism. So games, so crossword and Wordle make them a ton of money subscription. I
Yeah.
pay for a New York Times game subscription, and
Cooking.
recipes.
I mean,
Recipes. That's
cooking.
it. That's it. And so
Yes.
those are the things that are their profit centers. I mean, look, I love Peter Baker. I think he's amazing journalist, but like most people aren't buying the New York Times. The New York Times doesn't have 13 million subscribers, I don't think, because of Peter Baker. I think they've smartly diversified away from core journalism. And
Totally.
that doesn't give me a ton of hope about journalism, like capital J journalism. It's like,
Yeah.
look, I'm glad that they're in games and cooking and Wirecutter and the
Style
Athletic,
section.
but
I
it's
mean,
not.
it's
I
awesome.
mean, I use Wirecutter all the time. Like I
Yeah.
used it this morning, but my point is like, it's not what we would describe as like capital J journalism, which maybe we just have to change our approach. One interesting thing, and I know this is not what we're here to talk about, so
Yes.
I will end on this, but one interesting idea from your husband that I think is actually really interesting is like, if you think about the way legacy media worked, it was, we had all these just the facts, ma'am, reporters, and then they added on opinion people.
Mhm.
And Brooke, your husband, has suggested like maybe the opposite will be true. Whereas now the growth industry is all these opinion sites. So Midas Touch, the Bulwark, and maybe they've already started to do some of this, add on more straight news reporters. Like it will reverse itself. Like it will be
Yes.
start as opinion and add some straight news, as opposed to start as straight news and add opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know, like a Scott McFarlane is an example of that. He went from CBS to Midas Touch, and it's like he's trying to be a relatively straight shooter, but it's Midas Touch. It's a lefty. And so I don't know, maybe we're just going to adjust. I mean, journalism's not going to go away, but man, it's not in a great place. Anyway, sorry. Thank you. Brief aside.
I love that. I love what you're saying. As someone who's just spent, 24 hours watching MS Now with my parents who rant and rave against Donald Trump for.
Are there MS Now watchers?
Yes. Huge.
I don't watch any cable television. None.
Me neither. I had to kind of try to figure it out on my TV to show them how to do it.
Yeah.
But okay. What I want to talk to you about now is the women in your life who have inspired you, and like
Sure.
I think what's really interesting, and if anybody wanted to chime in on this chat, because I think, well, many of them are people who subscribe to you and know you well, is what has made you so brave and have the ability to kind of be so open about being laid off, about these things that are like really third rails that we don't talk about publicly.
Yeah.
Is there any woman in your life, or any, like, was it your wife or your mom or a friend?
Yeah. So knowing that what you do, and I love this, and I put some thought into it because I didn't want to just be like my mom or my, you know what I mean? Like, just, I'm an only child. I don't have sisters. I don't have brothers. I don't have cousins I'm super close to. And I have 2 boys. So I'm surrounded by a lot of boys/men. So I think it's 2 people, one earlier in my life and one now. So to answer your question, my wife definitely is the person now, and we've been married since 2003, so 23 years, and we met in the late 1990s. And
She's awesome.
yeah, she's the best. Yeah, I don't totally love people meeting my wife because they're always like, how's Gia? She's like much more winning and appealing than me. So I'm like total second fiddle once they meet her. What's Gia doing? I'm like, she's fine. Thanks for asking. Nice to see you too.
She's not only beautiful, she's also was a journalist, right? And
Yep.
Does she still do field hockey?
She does not coach anymore. She stopped, but she's the winningest coach in the history of Catholic University field hockey. Yeah. And was a scholarship athlete in college. Yeah, she's a pretty amazing woman. And look, we've been married a long time, obviously, but like to your point about like being open, and there's no question that it was the week after Thanksgiving 2022 that I got laid off. And that was like, and this may be a testament to the fact that I haven't had that hard a life, but that was like a really devastatingly difficult time for me, and not one that I bounced back from quickly.
I remember that because it was also kind of shocking too.
Well, you were going through it too. I mean, right? I mean, Brooke was going through it too. So like, he handled it a lot better than I did. And in fact, he's just more even keeled, I think, is probably, in my opinion, more even keeled than me. Like, he's just like, we'll figure it out. And I still remember, I don't know that he knows this, but I actually think like when I think of my lowest point, it was having coffee with him. We would have coffee because neither of us were working. So, we didn't have much else to do. And there was a time
he really leaned into feeling good about it. And I was
yes,
like, don't feel too good about it.
Yeah. We need you to get another job.
Yeah.
I was really low, and I remember I had coffee with him, and I was like in a dark place. And I'm not normally I'm not prone to like that as much. But I was like, it just doesn't work out for everyone. It's not going to work out for me. And he was like, okay. It was like he was like my psychiatrist. But yeah, it sucked. And it was sort of public too, in DC, because, like Playbook wrote about it, and, like people knew about it who follow politics. And that was hard because it's just, you're like, you can't get away from it because you're like at your kid's game and baseball game, and people are like, hey man, sorry. I mean, people are nice. It's not that people are mean, but it's just like, if you get laid off as an accountant, you don't really need to tell anyone necessarily. You can just be like, yeah, I'm looking for my next great opportunity, or whatever the hell people say. And I think that like one of the things I think that happens when you're in crisis like that is you're pretty selfish. You don't necessarily mean to be.
Yeah.
You're just very selfish. You're just very self-absorbed. You're very self-focused. It was like, I was just kind of like, because I felt, totally. I felt like I was literally just kind of like, force yourself out of bed in the morning. I mean, I was like, I still remember this. I would like go to the Starbucks by our house, and I would get coffee, and I would be like, these baristas, they got hired. Like, they thought they were qualified, and look at me. I don't even have a job. Like, I was like, everything was seen through that lens. Do you know what I mean? It was like, because it was a total reversal of my self-image. My self-image was as successful star journalist. Now, I'm not sure everybody thought of me that way, but that's kind of in my mind's eye. And when it was like, you don't work here anymore.
Yeah.
It was like, wait, me?
Yeah.
Like 100%. And as much as I tried to tell myself and tell others, like, I don't really care about like people recognizing me on the street, or I don't care. I totally loved it. 100%.
Yes.
And, Gia, I think my wife, she was just super steady. It was like, she didn't panic. She was not working outside the home at that time. And, so it was like a significant financial setback, obviously. And, but she didn't really talk too much about that. And she probably worried privately, but I think she probably realized I was in pretty rough shape anyway. And
Yeah.
it's not any one thing that she did. It's just, when you are kind of just casting around, when your ballast has just been totally broken, your compass, having someone who's steady and just there, it's really important. And I think in retrospect, I think it probably took a lot out of her. I know it took a lot out of
Yeah.
her because I was just like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and
I think I talked to her around that time because we were both kind of going through trying to figure out what the best next move was, right?
yeah,
And because Brooke is a producer behind the scenes, and you were very forward facing. So for you, it was like I felt like he had maybe even more opportunities because if you're not front facing in that way, like you had to build your own thing, which you've done an amazing job at.
well, thank you. But
Because
yeah, it is. It's and again, I do think I'm much more dramatic than he
yeah.
is.
Oh yes,
And so I'm like, it's all over. Uh,
so am
but
I.
she
But that's
she
okay.
just yeah, I know. We're kindred spirits and Brooke and G are kindred spirits. Yeah. I just I think I think it was tremendously difficult for her because I was so self-absorbed, because I was so low, because and it was so different than I normally, and not like I'm like amazing all the time, but like so different than I normally am. And we had the financial piece of it. And we had, and and she had lost she had lost her dad. She lost her dad during, all of that. It was just she's just a very like strong person and a very kind of like just like grounded in like a really positive way person. And so I like there's no way in hell I would have made it through without that, because it just again like I really do think like I was totally lost. Brooke helped with
Mhm.
that. And then Gia just kind of like being there. I think it's weird. Showing up is really valuable. Like, you don't have to, it's not like she was like, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to do that, and then we're going to build the business this way. It wasn't any of that. It was just, she was just there. And I think I didn't even think about it at the time because I was so self absorbed. But I think that takes a massive amount of strength emotionally to kind of like carry the family on your back for, and I'll be honest, it wasn't a month. You know what I mean? Like I would love to say like I kind of bounced back and and I was right at it and doing interviews. Like I kind of wallowed for a while. And I mean, like I publicly I tried, not publicly, but like in my writing and stuff, I didn't like spend too much time wallowing. But like in my private life, it was challenging. I mean, like really challenging.
Yeah.
Uh
And
and
she,
no one was coming and being like, "Hey, Chris, here's this amazing job that pays all this money." And so it was kind of like, okay, well, what the hell am I going to do? And
yeah.
and look, we're now, three and a half years on, and like she's now the co-founder of the business that we have together. She negotiates all deals that we
Yeah.
do. And she's just learned all this stuff because to your point, she was a journalist and then she became a field hockey coach, which honestly, particularly at the Division 3 level where she coached, it is kind of like running a small business.
Yes.
I mean, you're dealing
Recruiting.
with people, you're dealing with budgets, you're dealing with personalities, you're trying to figure out like, how can we do better? But she's learned all this stuff kind of on her own, and she's
She's helped
negotiating.
you build this, right? Like
Oh my
she
gosh,
for you
yes,
to, but
100%, because I'm a terrible business person. I mean, and I'm not saying that out of false modesty. I just don't know anything about it. I'm like kind of a people pleaser. So people are like, "Hey, we'll give you $20 to do these 100 things." I'm like, "Oh, okay, that sounds good.
amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
great."
Yeah.
And she like protects my time, and she deals with sponsors, and she deals with various people who, are trying to separate us from our money. Like, "Hey, we can get you 20 million clicks on YouTube." Um, and she does a million different things. So it's not just that like kind of at when I needed someone to hold on to me as I felt like I was drifting away, she was holding on to me. But then as I
Mm.
came out of that, well, largely thanks to her, to be totally honest, but she's also like helped in way, like kind of modeled like, okay, what don't you like doing? I can fill in those gaps, which is like again a very selfless thing to do because she's got a lot going
Yeah.
on, right? She's also like leading my son is being recruited to play soccer in college, my older boy, and she's like coordinating that because if you know anything about 17-year-old boys, they're not super organized. I should
Yeah.
say my 17-year-old boy is
No,
not,
true.
and so she's doing all that. So it's a lot. She's just awesome. I mean, I knew that she was awesome. I always say, like, if you marry the right person, it's the best thing ever. And if you marry the wrong person, marriage sucks worse than anything else. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not. And
Yeah.
I just happened to at 20, we met when we were 23 and we got married when we were 26 and we're 50 now. Like, I just happened to meet the right person, which is incredibly lucky. So she's the big one. I have another one going back further if you want to talk about that. But I
Yeah,
would
we
say,
have to make sure she watches this, by the way.
yeah. So she
I
does not
mean,
like me. She does not like me talking about her. So I don't know that she's going to be thrilled about it. But look. She is an amazing woman. Anyone who knows her knows that she's pretty. And you know what's great about her too? She's tough as shit. She's not like a pushover at all. Like she's tough, man. She's strong-willed. I'm a lot. I mean, to be totally honest, like I'm
yeah.
a lot. I'm a lot to deal. Your husband will know this. He was my boss. I can be a lot. I'm a little bit of a drama queen. And if I married someone who just took all of my shit, I think it would be not good for me and certainly not good for that person. And she's not like that. She's great. I mean, I love her, but I also admire her as a person. Yeah. Anyway, but
You're the first person.
she will not like any of this.
No, well, deep down she might. I mean, I think everybody wants to be seen and recognized, right? Like, I think she wants to. I've always thought I don't think it's not Robert Caro, or maybe it is. Yes, it is Robert Caro. His wife, Ina, does a lot of his research and writing. And I always thought they should have joint bylines. Do you think she
Yeah.
to have like not a, you don't have, not a joint byline because you're writing your stuff and doing the interviews and everything, but is there a way to credit her, or would she just say, I don't want that?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I will say, like, I used to, when we were kind of starting this business, she was like an informal advisor. I'd be like, hey, I got off the phone because she knows most of the people in this world. She used to be a journalist. And I'll be like, I got off the phone with this person and they said that, or I met with this person and said, and now what I've done is formalize that a lot. Not me, we've formalized a lot more. So like we're, the podcast that Chuck Todd and I do together, she's on like the calls for that, like the planning calls. She's on all sponsorship calls. We work with a company out of New York called Collective Media that helps us bring in sponsors, that helps us, I need to get new headshots done. She's on, so she's sort of an integral part of all of that. And I very much try to make sure that people understand that it's like a joint company. It's not, I am the public facing part of the company. Yes. And she doesn't have any interest in being the public facing part of the company, but it is impossible for me to do what I do without her. And it's not just like, oh, she's doing the bookkeeping or whatever. It's like, everyone in life needs someone who you can be like, what do you think of this? Like, did you like those people? Do you think they're bullshit artists whose judgment you trust implicitly? Like they don't have like another agenda. Your husband is like that.
Yeah, Brooke is that.
I know he's not like, oh, if I tell Chris this, it'll help me. It's just like he knows me, both good and bad. And he can be like, this would be a good thing for you to do. This would be a bad thing. I know these people. I don't like them. I trust them. I don't trust them. And I don't have to be like, what's he getting at? What's his agenda? Yeah. And she is like that. But I think in the last year, we've formalized it more. But yeah, I think that's a really hard thing too, is like, I get a lot of credit.
Yeah.
Because it's my name and my face and my videos and stuff. But I think that's hard. That's talk about an act of selflessness, like to help
totally
without getting like public acknowledgement all that often for it.
So I have to say, since my mom, I think, is on here too, Valerie Anderson, she does the same thing for my dad. He's a writer and has written, dozens of books, and she's always been there. She's his first reader.
Yep.
She, they're kind of a joint operation. If he has a book idea, she tells him whether she thinks it's good, and she's literally editing his stuff. And I think that is, you need to have that partner in life who you trust. And I know,
Yes.
you know, Brooke will do the same for me if I come up with an idea. I mean, just yesterday there was an idea floated to me for a piece, and he was like, "That's an awful idea. Don't
Yeah.
even,
You
you know."
need that. And
Yeah,
especially I have a lot of ideas.
yeah, me too.
Most of them are not great. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, it's just now,
totally.
I'd rather be in the space of being someone who thinks a lot, like, hey, what if I did this? What if I did that? Because I think one of
One
the
of
things
them's
that
going to
we
be good. Yeah, one of them.
right, one of the things that the deficit that a lot of journalists have is they just don't have any ideas. Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, and I'd rather be on the idea side, but a lot of my ideas are bad or like totally impractical.
Yes.
And so she will be like, "Nah," and she knows me too. It's like, you're not going to do that. You're not going to want to do that. You're going to be annoyed. Like, if you agree to give a free speech in California during our son's senior soccer season, you're going to be annoyed,
Yes. You're right.
and so I'm like, you're right. I will be annoyed. You know what I
100%.
mean? And so you need that. And again, I just think I'm very blessed and lucky to have her, like, truly. I mean, I I think one other thing, and we can end this piece on it, but I do think one thing that I don't. She told me in retrospect. She told me after the fact, and I didn't even realize, is that, like, I had not been super attentive as a husband in my last couple years at CNN, and I don't totally know why that was. I think I was very focused on, like, climbing the ladder and getting on this show or being a guest anchor on this show, and I do think that getting laid off and that sort of valley that I went into ultimately has made me, I hope, a better and more appreciative husband. I mean, it's easy to toot your own horn, but and again, I think it is fundamentally true that I am a very flawed person and probably a flawed husband. But well, not probably a flawed husband, but I do think I'm more aware of, we're around each other a lot more. I'm not sure that that's great for her, but like, I work out of, this is my house.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and like, I go and meet people and stuff, but I'm
Yeah.
here a lot more than I was 15 years ago, right? And but I do think we're more connected
Yeah.
now. It's also challenging, man. You know this. I'm sure your mom knows it. I'm sure Robert Caro's wife knows it. I'm sure Bob Woodward's wife knows it.
Yeah.
It is challenging to work together. I mean, it is not easy. She and I have while I think we are a good couple, we have very different approaches. I'm very much like, I've learned everything I need to know in these first 5 minutes that I've looked at this. Let's make a decision. And she's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna read. She reads about everything, knows all the possibilities, which honestly, in the business and legal world, is pretty great, because I have signed on to some dumbass things because I'm like, I don't have time for this. I'm just gonna skim it.
Me too.
So it is not easy, and we clash, but I do think I'm a better husband today than I was 5 years ago, and I'm hoping that 5 years from now I can say that I'm better than I was today. I mean, I'm just more mindful.
Yeah.
I'm more aware of it. Relationships take real effort. Being married is hard, even if you love the other person a lot
Yeah.
and you're committed to it. It's hard as hell. You have to work at it. And I think got too caught up in the career stuff and did
100%. 100%. And I love that you have all these ideas. I mean, my computer monitor has all these post-it notes because now I'm doing like a
look.
Yeah, exactly. They're all
These
over
are all my like insane scrawlings of like
Right.
things I should write or things I've thought of that I don't want to forget. Or
Yeah, and so you have the creative energy, and she's the business mind and can kind of harness that. And I think that's important. And I am going to force her to watch this, whether she likes it or
oh
not.
boy.
Force her
Okay.
to. Who's your other? Do you have another woman
Yes,
you want to
I
credit?
do. Yes, 100%. So this goes way back, but I was thinking of this last night, and Gia is the obvious one because in my formative adult years, she has been the most important person.
Yeah.
But there was a woman. I grew up in a very small rural town in Connecticut, and I went
What
to like
was
a
it again? Because I did.
Marlboro, Connecticut, 20 minutes south of Hartford.
Okay.
And I went to a like regional public school when I was a kid, like little. I eventually went to Catholic school in high school and then private school for my last 2 years of high school, like boarding. I didn't board there, but a lot of people did. But all K through 8, I went to a public, like regional school because there weren't enough kids in the town to have its own public school.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it was 6th grade, there was this woman named Sarah Kania, and she was she didn't teach a class, but she was like in charge of the, like, I forget what they called it, but back then it was a much less politically correct name, like the smart kids. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, gifted and talented. I think now they call it something different because it's like, well, everyone's gifted and talented. But like
I never got into it, so I'm not a huge gifted and talented fan. But continue.
I'm not. I don't love it either because this is a total sidebar, but I always say this to my boys. I'm like, look, don't conflate doing well at school and being smart. Many people who are quite smart do very well at school. It's not, but doing well at school is not the same thing as being smart emotionally or intellectually. And so I was great at school because I'm a total rule follower. And they said, these are the things you need to do. And I was like, right. Mm-hmm. I have met in my life many people who are significantly brighter than me, who were not as good as me in school because they struggled under those constraints. Anyway, I'm with you on that whole thing. And I think like singling kids out and being like, you're smart and you're not, creates this stratification system. And anyway, back in the,
you made it. You were gifted
when I was 12. So this was 1988. I got tagged for this thing, and they would like, you would like go and like in part of the school day, if memory serves, and like hang out with the other smart kids. And like, I don't know what the hell we did, like do like nerd word problems or something. And the cool thing about it was this woman, Sarah Kania, was in charge of it. And she got us into this thing called, I mean, this is so nerdy, but it's called future problem solving. So it was like it was kind of like Quiz Bowl, sort of like the same kind of thing. And we had a team and she led the team. It was very like Quiz Bowl or debate, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. And what you would do is like, same thing. You would compete in like all these other things. You would compete at a small level, then a regional level, then a state level, and then a national level. And all it would be is actually really cool. It would be like, they would present you with a problem, like this company wants to grow to this amount, and how do they do it? Or, very much like, okay, how do we think outside the box and solve problems? And it was 4 of us, 3 of us and an alternate. And like, we did it and we won for Connecticut. And then we got to go to Michigan for the like national competition. And that was like the first time I'd ever been on a plane. And I was like 13, 14. We did not have we had enough money, but my dad did not travel. That was like not his thing. And like, I still think of her sometimes because first of all, 2 things. I never really thought of myself as someone who was smart. And again, in retrospect and having raised kids now, I'm not sure like laying the sword on the smart kids when you're in 6th grade is smart. But for me, it was like a huge confidence boost because I was not an amazing athlete.
Were your parents not telling you were smart? Because my parents always told me I was smart. So I believe.
I don't know. I think they probably were. My dad was an educator. He was a teacher. So I don't know. They certainly weren't like, you're a dumbass. You know what I mean? Like they weren't like, no, they were like good parents. I'm sure they were telling me that. I don't really remember it, but it was, I think maybe like external validation, number one. So I that helped me a little bit with confidence. And I just love this woman. She was like cool and kind of like a cool nerd. Do you know what I mean? Which I had never really run into. Like someone who was comfortable. I was not super comfortable in my own skin. Somebody who was comfortable in their own skin, who thought it was cool to be.
Yeah.
smart's the wrong word. Cool to be intellectually curious, which I was. You know what I mean? I was interested in lots of things. I love to read. I love to write. So it was more for me in the long run. It was about like, oh, like you can be an adult that likes
All different. Yeah.
intellectual
Yeah.
pursuits, and that like talking about books and doing the crossword puzzle. And because I think what you didn't, I will say this, especially as a boy, what you don't have as a, not everyone, obviously, but what I didn't really have, particularly again, this is 1980s. You don't have the people who are like your role models or adults that you know
Yeah.
as a male tend to be like really good athletes, or
Yeah.
it's not like
Yeah.
now you could be like, I don't know that you would admire this person for what he believes, but you admire like, oh, Elon Musk, like a giant nerd who has succeeded. Like he's kind of like, he's in space, a Bezos or whatever. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know who kids admire. I mean, honestly, my kids
Money.
admire like streamers now. You know what I mean? Like Mr. Beast.
Yes.
But there wasn't,
it's an interesting point.
Cool nerdiness had not caught on among boys at that point. I mean, look, I always point out, like, can you imagine a movie like Revenge of the Nerds being made now? Like, basically, like these nerdy guys, like being nerdy became sort of cool.
Totally.
For boys.
About money. Yeah, because you could be Mark Zuckerberg and make billions of dollars.
It was like, well, you might not be popular in high school, but all these people are gonna work for you one day, whatever. It's like the nerd's dream. You know what I mean? Like one day I'll get all of you. But that was not the case when I was growing up. Like it just was. And again, I can't speak for growing up as a girl, but like as a boy, the things that were valued were being strong, literally, like lifting weights and being strong physically, or being a really good athlete. Like it was not like being intellectually curious about stuff, reading, writing, the things I was into and marginally good at were not the kind of things that made you prom king. And I'm not sure they are anymore either. I mean, to be honest, it's like we're much more of a enlightened, I think, about boys than we were in the 80s. But I will tell you, having raised two boys, you know who's popular? The kids were good. The boys were good at sports. I mean, it's like no matter what you do, you can't engineer that out.
No.
But I think there is a little bit wider lane now for other options.
I hope so.
But what's
her name again?
Sarah Kania.
And do you still keep in touch?
No.
Okay.
I don't. And I probably need to. I hadn't thought of it's so funny. This is why I'm so glad that I got to do this with you, is because I hadn't thought of her in years. But like when I think back on people who really influenced my life, my young life, she's right up there. Again, because it like when at least when I was a kid, I don't know if it's true for all kids, but like I was obsessed with trying to be cool, and I was not super cool, like naturally, you know what I mean? And she kind of helped me realize that like being you is totally fine, and you can like, you know, you got who you are today. Totally. And I think that's so important. And I try to focus on my boys on that. I was bullied really badly when I was a kid, and it sucked. And I just try to remember like that lesson of hers. Like you can be you could be a lot of different things too. That's the other thing, is like, and that's Gia too. It's like, I think Gia, she was a scholarship athlete in college. And I think one of the things that was challenging for her was that's what you were. Yeah. You're an athlete, but she did theater, and she has a beautiful singing voice, and she's into journalism. So, and it's like, you really can be a lot of different things. I love sports, love them. I also really like journalism. I also, am into like professional wrestling, which I know Brooke and I share. And it's very weird. My kids make fun of me constantly. They're like, you know, it's not real, right? I'm like, I'm aware it's not real. But my point is like, Sarah helped me see, though, my God, if I had tried to explain this when I was in 12 to 17, I would have really struggled. But she helped me see that like, you don't have to be only one thing. You don't have to
Mhm.
just be intellectually curious or quote unquote smart. You don't have to just be sporty.
No,
You don't have to just be anything. You can be, and in fact, not only can you be, the best people you're going to meet in your life are the people who are not just one thing. That's one of the things I struggle with now.
totally.
Like when I would talk or write about things other than politics, people would be like, "Stay in your lane," and
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I do this for a job, yeah, and I love it. I'm passionate about it. But
Yeah.
I also have like a lot of other interests, and I
And I
would
think,
hope you have a lot of you person attacking me have a lot
yes,
of other interests, and I just think we have a tendency to just slot people in,
100%.
and it really limits
I
what
mean,
you can
I
be.
wrote a book about first ladies, so I get called as a woman. I think this is part of it
Yeah.
too, to talk about first ladies all the time. But I've also interviewed many presidents, and I wrote a book about Elizabeth Taylor, who I love. And people are like, "That's so strange. Why would you do that?" And Brooke always encouraged me. He was the one who said, "You should write this. You should try to write about Elizabeth because she has these Washington connections. She did so
Yes.
for AIDS and HIV, but she was the biggest celebrity married to a US senator. So there is a Washington connection, but people want to kind of slot you. They want to put you
I
in a bubble.
I
So,
was super into in college. I was super into Walt Whitman, and he said, "I contain multitudes in Song of Myself." And I think of that all the time. None of us is one thing. If you
yeah.
meet somebody who's one thing, my God, they're boring. Do you know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, I have no interest in if I can't talk to someone, if I can't spend 30 minutes talking to someone I know through politics about something unrelated to politics, I don't really want to spend a lot of time with them. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just,
Totally.
it's like, yeah, of course we can do it, but it's like, I'm more interested in the other stuff too. And she taught me that, I think she taught me that in a lot of ways. It's not like I was like writing in my journal, like I can be many things. It was just like, an example of someone that I could return back to and say like that's someone that I admire that uh wasn't like a prototypical like teacher. She was like kind of cool. And I also think she had more relaxed rules because she wasn't like teaching a class. It was like 10 of us or something. So it was a little bit easier. But of course I didn't know any of that then. But yeah, I would say her. Just into and the other thing too is like teaching me that it's okay to love learning and love reading and love wondering about stuff and talking about stuff. And like I am like she always makes fun of me because it's like I spend all of my free time reading, but I'm like it's always been a thing that I did. And again, not super popular, only child. Like it's yes, reading was my escape. I mean, you don't have to dig that deep psychologically. But even now I find that I'm better when I'm able to carve out some time just to read every day and just to try to or just like research something. I mean, golly, AI actually makes this
Uh,
wonderful. You can like find out so much stuff so quickly now. I'm like, this is amazing. I can find out about like all these questions I have. Um, but yeah, I would say her. I mean, look, I would not be who I am without Gia. I mean, I would just to return to that. I mean, it's just I'm a far better person being married to her than I would if I was not married, than I would be if I was not married to her. Period. Full stop. Like, I'm not saying I'd be like a serial killer if I wasn't married to her, but I'm a better person, a better
yes.
journalist, better father, better husband than I would be being married to someone else.
I just think you were the only person, I've only done a few of these, but you're the only person I've talked to who has cited a spouse in such a way. But I've
Huh.
also only talked to, in fairness, a couple of men. So I've gotta reach out
Who do
to
people, can I ask you before we go, like what's the most common? Is it like a teacher, a mom? Like who is the like people? I don't want you to like overgeneralize based on a small sample, but like
I mean, it's a grandmother often because I think
interesting.
that grandmother, the mom connection is strong, but I think that I mean, in my case, I'm very, very close with my mom, but I think it's complicated too. You know,
Totally.
the mom is like really close, really complicated for a lot of people. So the grandmother, you're a step away.
Yep.
The grandmother's there for the fun times,
You know,
and
one thing that's cool about that is this is not totally related to you, but I knew my mom's mom died right before I was born. So I
yeah,
never knew her. I knew my dad's mom a little bit, but they live like 45 minutes away. So when we would go get our hair cut, 45 minutes away, my dad would take me to this old Italian barber. No one ever cut my hair other than him until I was 18. Shout out Dominic Formato. We would go visit my grandmother. It's like so traditionally Italian. She would like always be have a like big thing of red sauce. Totally, 100%. It's like the most stereotypical thing ever, but that's just how it was. But one thing that's cool is my mom lives. My father passed in 2020, and my mom moved to DC, and my mom lives like 3 minutes from us drive, and she is so much more involved in my two boys' life. Like she's such a more active presence in my two boys' life than my grandparents ever were in mine.
Yes.
And I love that for them. You know, yes. I love that for them because it's exactly like you said. It's like, look, no matter how great your parents are, you're going to clash with, they're your parents. Yeah, particularly when you're 17 and 14, right? And so she's there and, you know, dotes on them. And like, she's just, they will have a lot more memories of my mom than I have of my two grandmothers, which I think is really cool.
Same for my kids, and my parents are actually here now visiting, and they've just been hanging out with our kids like for days and like helping me out so I could work and stuff. And like they go out to lunch with them and go shopping.
Totally.
Like that little stuff like that matters a lot.
It's just like being, it's not, you know, I think for my grandparents, it was like, well, my mom's mom died. And then I was not close particularly to either of them, but it was like a see them occasionally kind of thing. They were not interwoven into our lives. My mom is like like my older son has a soccer game tomorrow. I will pick my mom up. We will drive with my older son to the soccer game. She will watch the soccer game. I will take her back. Like, and yes, I will be honest. Sometimes that's a pain in the ass. Sorry, Mom, but she is a part of our lives in like on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis in a way I did not have that. And I'm thankful for that. Like when I step back from the, you know, occasionally annoying logistics, it's nice. By the way, shout out to Chris Anderson, best-selling author.
Oh, thank you. And Valerie Anderson, my mom, who's going to be.
I did not know they were I did not know they were a team. That is really cool to me because that's kind of how I think of Gia and I.
100%.
And I did not know. I mean, obviously, this is a great example. I, of course, know your dad's work, and I didn't really know your mom's role.
Oh, she's the first reader for all his books. And that's what I bet Gia is for you, too. Like, if you post something, do you ever run things by her and say, like, I'm going to post this?
Yes. Although I write too much. She doesn't care about politics, so she doesn't give a crap about that. But if it's ever anything that's personal adjacent, yes, because she cares about this stuff. And she's also much more of a private person than I am. Like she protects our privacy in a way that I'm like, no one will ever care. This is just on the internet. No one will know, you know, like, and she's just more thoughtful about that stuff. I'm like a 13-year-old. I'm like living in a consequence-free world. You know what I mean? And she's like, well, should you say that? And I'm like, that's actually a really good point. You know, and I get annoyed sometimes. I'm like, wow. Yeah, of course. It's fine. It's fine. And then, you know, I hate to say it, but she's right a lot of the time.
I know we are.
And I'm often wrong.
We're going to have to do this again where I talk about my forays into the true crime documentary world where my husband's like, some crazy person's going to show up at our door. And you are like talking to an inmate in prison. I'm like, but it's so interesting.
I will tell you this, and it's just awful. Like the details, especially, well, it doesn't matter whether you have kids or not, but as someone who has kids, this woman who killed her 3 kids,
Clancy, I'm obsessed.
Jesus, it is just devastating.
I feel so, you know, you do feel so badly for her because she did try really hard to get help. That's
and then she jumped. She's paralyzed. I mean, she jumped out a window, tried to kill herself after. I mean, like, it's, you know, the other one, and I think it would be really hard emotionally to do this, but do you remember who was it that wrote it? It was someone random. It might have been Tom Shales, the old Washington Post TV critic. Yeah. It was back when the Washington Post had a magazine. It was either him or someone in that space where you were like, this is weird that he's writing this. He wrote a long piece about parents who accidentally leave their kids in hot cars.
Hot car. I read that. Because I go down that rabbit hole.
Of course. And I mean, that was
I totally remember
devastating.
Like
These are,
Unbelievable.
and it's about the people who are left behind, right? The parents who, they were running in to do something, and the
That's
kid, it's an infant, and you leave him in a car. And I've always, I don't think I could do it, because I think emotionally I couldn't do it.
yeah,
Like I personally wouldn't be able to do it. But I do think like telling those stories would also be kind of
amazing.
compelling,
I think that with that story, because that was like a really big, I remember that it was several years ago, it was a long time ago, but like
long time ago.
it really probably saved some lives, because you do think, like, we have 3 kids and our youngest was, he'd be sleeping in the car and I would take the other 2 somewhere, like, and you think that could actually happen. And like,
100%. You don't have a
happening,
lot of sleep. You don't like, I
no,
just,
you're
now what's interesting, my car doesn't do this, but when we rent cars, when we're like driving my older son to soccer stuff, when you turn the car off now, it says check the rear. There's a thing that says, oh, thank you, Lanny or Lonnie Jacobson. It was Gene Weingarten. I knew it was someone. I said
yeah,
Shales.
yes,
Gene was a comic writer, basically, who
yes,
wrote this very serious piece. If you have not read it, look, I would say be in the right mind space. I mean, it's devastating,
dark.
but it is a piece of really, really powerful journalism. And I've always like telling those stories is important. I
Yeah.
don't want to go on too long, but one thing I will say is, if people, I don't watch TV very often. I really don't watch cable, but I was watching about the floods in Indiana last night, and I was watching Anderson Cooper's show, and his podcast is about grief and losing his mom. And he played this video recording that a audio recording that a mom called into his, I guess they have a number that you can call into, and it was on celebrating what would have been her son's 40th birthday, and he had died of glioblastoma, which is what killed Beau Biden. It's what killed Ted Kennedy. It's what killed John McCain. And my God, it was just so moving. And I think giving voice to that stuff matters. Like in my teeny tiny, that doesn't even compare way, the number of people who have reached out to me about being laid off and the shame and the depression that they felt just because I wrote about it is a lot. Like it's way more than I thought it would be. And like, even if, and again, I am not comping that to this, but I do think like journalism and writing from an honest, authentic place really can be incredibly valuable. You said it earlier, to make sure people are seen.
Yes.
It's such a like new agey word, but it's 100% right. Like making sure that you say, I say to my boys all the time, just say thank you to people. Somebody holds the door for you, say thank you. Somebody makes you something, a sandwich, say thank you. Like those jobs are hard.
Yeah.
Like just say thank you. It'll make a huge difference.
Just like smile at somebody.
That's right.
Like,
just be kind.
And they'll smile back. I mean,
and you have no idea what people are going through. I see our friend Andrew Kaczynski is on, and Andrew's story is unbelievable. He lost his daughter. I'm not going to tell it for him, but he and his wife lost his daughter very young. They have other children now, but you never know what someone's going through. And he and I are not close friends, but I think of him often about resiliency and overcoming. And I'm sure he would actually be a great guest to talk about his how he got through that time and what women in his life helped him. And he's written and talked about it openly. And I would encourage people, if you have a little extra money, they raise money for cancer research. So go and support that. Don't support Kate's Substack. Don't worry about my Substack. Give the money, if you were going to Andrew.
I think Andrew should get it more than either.
Yeah. Anyway, I gotta run. You rock.
To talk to you forever. You're amazing. Thank you.
And when you do how he led to me, we'll do a whole hour about Brooke, your husband, who has helped me in innumerable ways.
And I'll chime in on that one.
See you, Kate.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
See y'all. Bye.